Pisces. As the month begins, you're filled with idealism and perhaps related to a new venture. But there's a couple of pitfalls you might not notice along the way. So let's have a look at your reading for the new moon starting the 26th of March and going for the whole month. This is your personal new moon reading. So that's your lunar return when the moon comes all the way back into Pisces and hits your sun, moon, or your rising sign. So let's have a look here. My name is Finn, and this is Magic 7 Tarot. I've already made a Magic 7 Tarot spread for you. Had an hour or so to kind of ruminate on it, meditate on it while I set up the lights and things. And there's so much positive energy here that I love. And also a couple of things you might not notice. So if I could be a helper for you today, it's to point out the kind of bumps in the road ahead that might upend you. Okay. In the past, we have overall very positive, though. The Arcanum 11, which in the Brotherhood of Light Tarot cards is the Enchantress. Okay, so this is Neptune energy. And so it suggests to me that in the past there was something revealed to you. So either someone was misleading you and then that came to light, or you were pretending something to yourself, which just happens. And you sort of came to your senses, as it were, and kind of, got yourself onto the truth, right? This is all about truth, okay? Neptune is the planet of illusion, but it's also the planet of high art and beauty. And so the secret with Arcanum 11 is to make sure you're telling yourself the truth first, and make sure that anyone around you is also telling you the truth. It's all about truth. Neptune, of course, rules Pisces, so this is native to your sign. So, okay, those are the more difficult expressions, but really it has to do with hidden forces, okay, at work, but also idealism. And this is why I sort of think that you're coming into this reading feeling pretty good about yourself and pretty good about where you're headed, or at least there's an idea you have that I have some idealism about, and that's well founded, and it plays out in the cards here. So the most important thing is, the truth has come to the surface. So if you were being misled, or someone wasn't being fully honest with you, that seems to have been revealed to you, which is a great thing. There's an old line about illusion, right? People don't want to be disillusioned, but what's the alternative? Being illusioned, right? Being under an illusion. Okay, and this is very captivating, right? It's the sort of thing that kind of lulls you into a sort of sense that anything is possible, or what's being told to you is the truth, when in fact it may not be as clear as that. Clarity is upset with this card. And so, but this is in a positive position in the past. So it feels to me like whatever situation was giving you a sense of uncertainty or unclarity has become clear. The veil has been lifted, and now you're seeing things for as they are, albeit through an idealistic lens, which, as the cards play out, doesn't really affect you. So if you have idealism, like if you're starting a new venture, you want to be idealistic about it. You don't want to be negative about it or concerned about it, right? Idealism is an energy, a creative force that leads you to make change or create something. And so that's certainly indicated. I'm going to do past, present, future, and then, kind of as all connected, like they're all connected, of course. And then we'll delve into the other cards, and we'll pull some other cards for you as well. Okay, in the present position, we have the Queen of Coins. Now, the Queen of Coins, the core cards in Brotherhood of Light usually refer to a person, but they could be a part of yourself, okay? But in this case, it sort of does seem to me like it's a person. So it's either a new person or a person who's now gaining focus. This person is expressive, gregarious, fun. If it's a part of yourself, it's the part of yourself that has a hard time saying no to people. Okay? So, when you're caught up in idealism, it's easy to be like, yeah, I'll go for that. Okay. And so I just want you to be aware that, if people are putting unrealistic expectations on you or asking you to do more than you can accomplish, I mean, in a sense, this card is kind of biting off more than you can chew. Whenever the Neptune is at work, we don't see the whole picture, or we may not sense the whole scope of something. So if you're being asked to do something, maybe you sort of think, oh, yeah, that'll be pretty easy to do. And now you might be coming to the realization that you should have said no. So the key word for this card is I balance. Okay. And so balance isn't, as I always say, balance isn't like balanced, right? It's one extreme and another extreme. Pardon me, I bumped my mic there. So if you're going to extremes, try to find the center point in that. And although it doesn't seem too extreme to me right now, it feels like this might be a new person in your life, um, or you're seeing someone clearly, that maybe previously you had idealized, and now you see her for who she is. Usually this would mean a female. If it represents a person in the environment, this is a female. If it represents a part of yourself, then it's that part that, is expressive and maybe can't say no. It gets carried away. So you want to not be too carried away. Um, I sort of feel like this is a person who you're seeing clearly, and not in a negative way. You're really seeing their positive qualities. They're a pretty fun person. And so if you're spending time with this person or launching a venture with this person, that some success is indicated here. Okay. Into the immediate future, we have the Two of Wands, Two of Scepters in the Brotherhood of Light Tarot. Same idea. So and it brings up a word, service. Okay. And I'm going to come back to that word because I think there's something here that you could serve someone. Isn't there a Bob Dylan song about this, right? You have to serve somebody. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you got to serve someone. So I want to talk to you about service because certainly this card could relate to higher service, right? Doing things for greater purpose. And that is a very meaningful endeavor for Pisces. Well, for Saul, but Pisces, really connect to that. So it also suggests you got to watch your interests. So in relation to this person, there's another person coming up and potentially being illusioned. Let's hope not. Okay. But even so, if whatever you're doing, you have to pay attention to your interests. And Pisces and this card are can not pay full attention. In other words, if your idealism gets in your way, what's the rose-colored glasses or clouds in your eyes, right? So be aware that there's work ahead. This represents scientific methods applied to business. Okay, so whatever you're doing, there's analysis, work, but this is a very positive card that gets work done and applies a methodology to whatever's going on. That might be a stark contrast to how you're feeling about the idea. Whenever you start a venture, there's a sort of anything is possible. Okay, and anything is possible, and then you got to get to work, right? And so it may not be that it's impossible, but there's work inherent in it, and so this represents that work. It also represents a pretty positive frame of mind, and as you're moving forward, and if there's a relationship to this, okay, there's a relationship to this person. I'm not saying it's a love relationship. Obviously, a general reading, you're not all going to fall in love with this woman, okay? But there's a healthy frame of mind between these cards, right? It's almost like you had the inspiration, you pulled together a part of yourself or someone else. Now you're moving forward with this venture. Let's call it a venture, whatever that means to you. It's a business card, so it could relate to employment or job or creating a business. Or it could relate to your home life, right? Like you sort of got caught up with an idea of how to renovate your kitchen, right? And then your partner gets involved and they have their own ideas about it. And maybe that makes it a bit bigger. and you're having a hard time saying no to them, right? And now you got to deal with it. Oh my gosh, I got to grout and I got to tear out the tile. I got to do this. I got to do that. Okay. It's positive, but there's effort involved. Okay. In all of this, it represents kind of a good frame of mind, Pisces. And I really want you to embrace that. Um, life ebbs and flows, right? And sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down. And this really shows me that you got something going on here that is worth pursuing. There are some hurdles. We'll get to the hurdles here. And I want you to be aware that being idealistic means you don't always see the whole picture. So the more you can apply, some kind of analysis to the whole picture, okay? This might be a vision for, let's go back to I'm renovating my house. Although this is just one example of any possible expression. Wherever these planets fall in your chart, that's the house, that's the way they express. So if I'm reading for everyone, we have every kind of possible expression. Okay, so think of this more as the emotional weather report, right? Idealism, spirituality, the highest ideals. Okay, and then we get to the reality of things, and wow, there's a lot more going on here than we expected. So we have to parse it out, and this is what this represents. So making lists, dividing, the effort into manageable chunks. Okay, it's right to have a good vision, but that's not the whole story here, right? There's vision and then there's execution. Okay. All right. So card number 4 is the Queen of Swords reversed. Now, in the Brotherhood of Light Tarot, the court cards, when they're reversed, represent the opposite gender. So this would be a masculine influence. Okay. This is critical, analytical. This is the part of yourself you can control. Okay. So in relation to maybe this person and the situation, it's easy to sort of get critical, hypercritical to yourself. You want to avoid that. That's the part we got to reel in. Okay. And so go back to that inspiration. And if you're stuck in inspiration and anything is possible, and now you hit the reality, wow, there's quite a bit of work inherent in this, it's easy to get critical and say, well, I'm going to forget the whole thing. Don't. Don't do that. I mean, you had a vision about how things could be, and it's important to honor that vision. And this is I analyze. Okay, so being critical, petty, it, those are the negative expressions of analysis, right? Being analytical about the situation is actually incredibly helpful in this case. Okay, this can be a bit cold. Okay, but this is Earth, and Pisces is water, right? So this is nice. This connects to your energy. The water flows on the Earth. Okay, you need a channel for the water. This is the channel. Okay, so if you can kind of dig a channel where you're going through and analyzing all the parts that need to happen, this is a really great way of doing it. Do not become self-critical. Okay, there are obstacles inherent in any process. That's the word I keep coming back to here. Inspiration, then process. Vision, then reality, right? And so those are yin yang. This is not, if you have to be analytical about your vision, that means you're on the road to realizing it. It's not a negative. Okay, stay positive. Okay, stay positive. Watch out for being critical in a way that isn't constructive. In other words, if you're, say, to this person, for example, my goodness, darling, your vision is out of control. Right? We only have $10,000 to spend on this project, and you spent that on the light fixture. This is not going to work out. That's a way to sort of put your analysis towards the situation in a constructive manner. If you say, oh, you're always spending all the money, right? You're not really being constructive. Okay, Pisces? You're a very constructive person and you feel deeply. So if someone's taking advantage of you, which is another expression of this, I don't really see it as much, but let's talk about this as not seeing things clearly and then someone exploiting you for that. And that would be the most negative way to read these cards. I don't really see that, but sometimes these things creep in. Like the cards are incredible symbols that contain multitudes, just like you. And so when we pull a card and we're pulling it for all the people in the world that are watching, it could be this and it could be that. Okay, so it'd be easy to get carried away with this card and then find out, oh, geez, I haven't moved forward on my project, or I still have all that work to do. Okay, don't lose sight of your vision. Do you ever make a vision board? Or sometimes I have a big board with magnets on it, and I'll put pictures on it, depending on the project I'm working on. Anything that can remind you of your overall vision in this case is incredible. Okay, this is the environment card. It couldn't be more positive. Arcanum 7. Believe in the Brotherhood of Light Tarot. This is called the Chariot. And its interpretation is victory. So the environment is welcoming this situation for you, this new energy, this new venture, this new partnership. It represents success, intelligence applied to a situation, and it couldn't be more positive business card, right? This is Sagittarius energy, which is Jupiter, which is one of the business cards, and it also represents a zeal to serve. So let's talk about service here. Sometimes we get a vision for a higher purpose in life. And if that's the case, Pisces, I want you to know that the cards indicate that that's the road to serving others is successful. Okay? Okay. And this also has to do with service. Okay? So this could be a family member, right? Whatever it is, let's say it's a parent that you have to, you have this person, someone you love deeply. Love isn't indicated here, but per se, again, anything is applicable. And so I'm interested, if you find it resonates for you, tell me, oh, this part resonated for me. Leave a comment. Or if you say, gee, Finn, you had this kind of person, right? But that's my boss. I really appreciate those sorts of insights. Whatever you can do to help me. This is only my second Pisces reading, well, third. And if you've been following along, you know that I had a vision about, providing these services to people as a way to help them. And it's my spiritual path, right? And has it been fraught with difficulties? Not really. But this morning I was about to record and the neighbor was playing music pretty loud. And so there's no path, no matter where you're going, that doesn't have obstacles. Okay? Only someone caught up in an illusion would believe that things would just go in a straight line and not have any interference. That's just impractical. It is always my wish that that's how things go. It's never been my reality that that's how things have gone. Okay? So be realistic. There's a realism here, okay? But the environment itself is setting the stage for you to be successful. So sometimes you can have the best idea and the best execution, and the best people, and the environment says, no, we're not interested in that. So what I see the environment is ready to receive what you have to offer. And if you're serving a higher purpose, that's the reward. Right? When I do a tarot reading for you or for everyone else, I finish and I feel rewarded from doing that. Now, at the moment, because I'm new, I don't see the results. I get a few likes here and some people follow, and that's very gratifying, but I don't really hear it. But I feel in myself that I've done something for others without any expectation. And whenever you do that, you're on the road to something big. Okay, this is the highest spiritual ideal. Ideals, right? What is your ideal? Okay, so all that being said, now we have a bit a big butt, not that big a butt, a little butt. Okay. So there's some things that you might not be noticing, and I want you to be really focused on those, having those in your awareness in case they pop up. Okay. So what opposes you is the Nine of Coins reversed. In Brotherhood of Light Tarot, reverse does not mean negative. It just means hard to express or doesn't fully express. Okay, it's muted somewhat. Okay, so this could represent, first of all, it's something that happens suddenly that you're not expecting. Okay, so this is your warning, your pre-warning. Okay, this is your pre-boarding call. Something unexpected is going to happen, so be aware that of the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. You won't know exactly what it is till it comes through. So it could be some kind of sudden loss. It could be an unexpected bill that happens. It could be a relationship that suddenly goes sideways. To me, in relation to the rest of the cards, it doesn't feel like relationship to me. It feels more like something like money. Okay? So maybe, and money means worth and value and self-worth. So, you know, could this kind of critical situation, hypercritical, or this person who's maybe hard to say no to or takes advantage of you, you know, kind of make you feel a bit less inspired than you were originally. Yeah, that could be a way of interpreting it. Could something break down like your car? That's what I saw right away is a car. You know, when I reflect, sometimes one image comes, sometimes 1,000 come. But when I touch the card and I take a breath, car. Okay. So suddenly you have to fix your car. You know, you got things moving to have your delivery business, let's say, right? Or this could even be a trip, although it doesn't feel like that as much. It all feels kind of related to business or the business of life or the business or whatever is related to your vision for yourself. You've had this vision of yourself. So some sudden thing is going to happen that's going to upset the apple cart. Okay. And the more you're prepared for that, the better off. So, you know, check your credit card statements, right? Make sure there's not some charge that doesn't belong there. Um, get your car serviced if you're using it for business. Have it serviced ahead of time. Don't wait for it to break down. Okay. This also represents inventiveness. And so sometimes when we're on the plan, you know, we're executing the plan, we come up with a bunch of other ideas. Great. But don't keep adding ideas, okay? Stick to the original vision as best you can. Excuse me, Pisces. A bit of a tickle in my throat today, but having a lozenge in my mouth while I'm reading the tarot cards is not very appealing, I'm afraid. So, pardon me. Not sick. I think I overdid my voice the other day. Okay. Thanks for caring. Um, this is not the end of the world. Okay, it's just something that might throw you off. Okay, so be aware something unexpected is going to happen, and it will throw you off. Now, the final. I want to talk about it in relation to the final card because it could really throw you off. Okay, if you don't do anything to compensate for that card, or if you're not prepared for something unexpected to happen, it could diminish your vision. I don't want that to happen. So the final card here is Arcanum 22, also known as the Fool card. And in the Brotherhood of Light card, there's two interpretations of this card. Upright, it's considered the materialist, and reversed is actually the positive expression, which is like spirituality, highest spirituality. Okay? So when it's in the upright position, it represents kind of the material world and materialism in the most kind of negative way. Selfishness, okay? Um, only focused on material outcomes. To me, this had nothing to do with material outcomes at first. right? Your vision of who you are and what you're trying to accomplish isn't really about materialism. It's about spirituality. And so I'm concerned that whatever is going to come this month to oppose your intentions is going to cause you to give up your vision a bit. And I really want you to never do that, okay? I mean, we never do that anyway, okay? So how do we not do that? Service is the word, okay? Who am I here to help? How am I helping? How can I help more? Okay? How can I cooperate with the people involved rather than trying to coerce them into getting something done? Or how can I insist on cooperation when I feel like I'm being coerced, which is possible? Anything that connects you to your community or community activity or service in, mitigates this card. Okay? But be aware that it's there, and it's kind of related to this card. So it feels to me like you have a really good line through here until something upsets you, or something unexpected happens that concerns you, diminishes you, restricts you. Don't be held back by negative thoughts or inverted thoughts. I mean, if you have a spiritual vision, actualize it. Okay, spirituality is one of your superpowers, Pisces. Okay, and that in this case means serving others. So it may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you got to serve somebody. Okay, and I want you to serve your vision here, which is another way of saying this. Okay, let's pull a couple of other cards, Pisces, and see what comes up. It's always a gift to read for you. Now, I have Pisces rising, so this is not unrelated to me either. I see some wisdom for myself in this reading. Okay, Eternal Spirit, what archetype can Pisces drop in this month to help them stick with their vision and be prepared for the unknown, so that when surprises happen, they're able to stick with their plan and achieve victory? You probably remember from last time I shuffled the cards 3 times. I cut them 3 times into 3 piles. Something goes the wrong direction, I put it in. That's just me. Do you read tarot cards? And you have an interest. Pisces are natural mystics, right? I'm going to talk about it. I keep dropping cards. Let me focus, okay? Okay, Spirit. Archetype for Pisces. I desire to know the truth. Let's give Pisces a great archetype that they can work with here. They're all great. Okay, what did we get? The cave. The cave, the cave, the cave. Love it. Place of retreat, safety, containment, silence, right? In some respects, this is talking too much, right? Keeping your vision to yourself and fulfilling it for yourself. I'm going to read if you don't know these cards, the wild archetype, wild unknown archetype, so great. I love them. And I use them in my own readings. Those who are fortunate enough to find and enter the cave are forever changed. It's a place of potent power, acting both as a portal to another realm and a space for sacred ritual and initiation. The cave is a place to return to for meaningful retreat, where one can see the true self in the darkness. Seeing, right? As in a seer. It's that card for sure. In esoteric teachings, the cave is known to reside in the center of the heart. Within its walls, the whispers of compassion and self-understanding can be heard, yet because of its mystery and power, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. We busy ourselves in the bright lights of the city, while the cavernous and dimly lit chamber calls out to us in the night. Where is your cave? You already know. Return to it and tend to the fire, the sacred center within. Okay, so this is the place you go when things get tricky, difficult, okay? Go back to the center, go back to your original vision, okay? and know that this is supported. Whatever you're doing is furthering your spiritual path in addition to, material things. I read things kind of on a material level first and then think about the astral level, like, the entities around us and the energy that we work with. And then, higher than that is a spiritual level. Okay. And I think that you're on a spiritual quest on some level. You're certainly on a quest to bring your spirituality to the world. Whatever that means. It might just be a good boss or a good parent or a good child, a good if you're a good sibling, wow, you're ahead of the game in most siblings, I would say. But good to others, okay? So when you get lost, retreat to the place that gives you strength and you find some solace, okay? I love that. Let's do one more card. We'll say goodbye for now. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, make a comment, share it to your friends. Eternal Spirit, what inspiration can we give Pisces this month to help them achieve their vision, their new vision? It's wonderful. Having vision is so great. The world needs new visions and new ideas, so bring it forth, Pisces. I desire to know the truth for Pisces. By the way, as soon as I started recording, the music stopped outside. I was very relieved. So just because something unexpected happens doesn't have to change your direction. Okay? Just accept it. Keep moving forward towards your vision. Pisces, inspiration, a desire to know the truth. All right. Wonders. Look at that. Pisces, you have some vision of how the world could be, how your life could be. Bring forth your gifts, right? I'm going to read this to you because I want to know what else it says. But the universe is filled with wonders. And, as a Pisces, as a sensitive, mystical, intuitive person, you're connected to that. And, I try not to get discouraged about the world, but things are tough. Okay? And so if you're bringing something, a gift forward to someone else, to the world, you're helping. Right? That's a spiritual task. Okay? Just around the corner, exciting possibilities are waiting for you. Wonders will be abounding in your life. Sometimes they won't be apparent at first. Nevertheless, they're there. The more you see them and embrace them, the more the possibilities will grow in magnitude. Celebrate and cherish even the smaller ones, no matter how tiny they may seem. Let go of expectations. Don't limit the way that you think about wondrous events that could don't limit the way you think that wondrous events could appear in your life. Be open if you believe anything and everything is possible. Pisces, believe in your vision and know that unexpected things don't have to be negative. They could be positive. Okay? I mean, I'm giving you a heads up and I'm showing you maybe the more difficult moment. Okay? But if you hold to your vision, find a way to serve other people in the world, bringing your gifts forward. We all need them, Pisces, especially now. Pisces, I love you. Have a great month. I'll check in with you in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for joining me today. Peace.